recording the meeting. There have been members that unfortunately were not able to join today, and they have asked that we please record the meeting so that they have a little bit of an idea of what's going on. With all of the information that's being passed around and everything that's going on today, as good as Julie is, it will be challenging her to keep track of everything during the meeting. So we will be recording that, and I have started the recording. Julie, I'd like to call the meeting to order. It is 10:03 Mountain Standard Time. Okay. Again, thank you all for being here today. Sorry, the recording got paused. The meeting today is a product of a year's worth of work by two fantastic organizations who had the vision and made it happen with a little bit of help from COVID. Throughout this whole process, I have been awed and humbled by the dedication, the talent, the willingness to compromise, the commitment to creating an organization that brought together really the best that we United and the Confederation had to offer. Many of the people involved in the merger process have, there we go. Sorry, folks. They've come back as board members, as committee members, as advisors, or stayed at the local level promoting the sport of working equitation. We have a huge number of new faces with very diverse and impressive resumes who've also joined the board and our committees. So at this point, I'd like to take a few minutes to introduce our board of directors and our committee chairs. Christine, you want to go ahead and share your PowerPoint right now?
Yes, and do you want me to just roll through it and then you're gonna call them all back, or leave each screen up as each person is talking?
I think you can go ahead and leave each screen up as everybody's talking.
All
We'll see how
righty.
it goes.
All right, it will take just a moment to load it.
And today really, to my mind, is a monumental event. We're having our first annual meeting of the new organization, USAWE Working Equitation. I am president of this fantastic organization and so honored to be a part of this board and seeing it grow and develop. I haven't had a lot of time to ride my horse this past year. The guy I'm on in that picture is sadly no longer with us, but I'm getting started with a new horse. And again, I love this sport. I love this organization and really honored to be a part of it. So thank you all. Christine, go ahead. Next slide. Unfortunately, our president-elect Barbara Price I don't believe she's on today. I don't think she was able to join.
Are you here?
I'm just muted.
Oh, Barbara. Yay, I'm sorry. Thank you. Go. It's your turn.
Oh, I didn't know I needed a turn. I wasn't asked to say anything. Hi, everybody. I'm glad to be here, and it's been a great start. So it's going to be an exciting year.
Thanks. Julie, go ahead.
Hello, Julie Alonso from Oregon. I'm your secretary.
And was Aaron able to join us? I'm not sure Aaron is here today. Aaron has volunteered to be our treasurer, but I think has been kind of really swamped in the last month or so. She said kind of through February, she's pretty tied up, and then hopefully we will see her more frequently in the future. Our next up is our at-large director, Trisha Reed. Trisha, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, good morning, everyone. This is Trisha Kiefer Reed over in Montana, and I serve as you can see, what's called an at-large director position. I am one of two at-large directors that gets to serve our organization, and basically what that means is I am on the executive board, I do get a vote, all that good stuff, but you can think of me as another contact point for our membership in general. And my enthusiasm for working equitation is just well placed, and I get to be around so many other enthusiasts, and I'm really excited for this next year. Thank you.
Thanks, Trisha. Our other at-large director, Doreen Atkinson, unfortunately, is not able to be here, nor is our Region 4 director, Kiki Pantes. They are both teaching a clinic today, which is part of why our organization exists. So despite the fact that they weren't able to join us, they're out promoting the sport. They're working with a bunch of newbies to working equitation. So I'm sorry that they're not here, but I'm glad they're doing what they're doing, because that's why we exist as an organization. So next up would be Christine Strasburger. Christine.
Hi, I'm Christine Strasburger, and I live in Northern Idaho. I'm your Region 1 director, and I'm fairly new to working equitation. I was part of the merge team, and just really excited to still be able to take a part in the foundational ground laying of this. So I'm glad you guys are here.
Thanks, Christine. And then we have Robin Bond.
Good morning, everybody from Region 2. I'm sitting here in sunny Southern California. I feel for those of you who are stuck in the frozen tundra because it's 73 degrees here. That comes at a price, drought. But anyway, I'm really happy to be here. I'm really happy to be part of USAWE. I've been in working equitation since about 2010, 2011, and really enjoy the sport, really enjoy bringing it to other folks who are beginning, and looking forward to seeing the sport expand and grow. It's good to see you all. Thank you.
Thanks, Robin. And next up is Cindy. Cindy, were you able to join the meeting? If you're here, you're muted.
I don't think she's here, Leslie, not yet.
Okay. And then Kiki is also not able to join. As I had mentioned, she and Doreen are teaching a working equitation clinic to some newbies today. So Kiki would have loved to have been here, but we'll be seeing her in the future. Alex Tyson is our Region 5 director. Alex, are you here? If you are, you're muted, so we can't hear you.
Hello, here I am.
There you are. Thanks, Alex.
Well, hi, everyone. My name's Alex Tyson. I'm from Fenton, Michigan, which is in like the southeastern part of Michigan. And I started getting involved in working equitation 3 years ago. And I just think it's the best thing ever. I think it's the best sport to introduce to kids. Here in Michigan, we've really tried to build up the youth program, and the kids are loving it. And I just think this is the best sport ever. And I'm really proud to serve you guys as Region 5 director for the Midwest and help get this sport, be just as popular as my personal vision is just as popular as hunter jumpers. So hopefully we're well on our way.
Thanks, Alex. And then we have Kim Hillier. I know Kim is here.
Hello, everyone. Good to see everybody. I am the Region 6 director. I live in Dover, Pennsylvania, which is South Central PA. I started about 3 years ago with working equitation and became part of USAWE, which is an affiliate organization in our area, and am loving the sport and really excited to help our region grow the sport.
Thanks, Kim. And last but not least by any means is our Region 7 Director, Rebecca Algar. Rebecca,
Hi, everybody.
there you are.
Um,
Good.
Very happy to see that so many people are here and very excited about this new group. I've been in the working equitation pretty much since it started here. Love the sport. It encompasses all the things I appreciate about good horsemanship. And I'm in Ocala, Florida, which calls itself the horse capital of the world. And I'm very excited. We have a huge region, but we seem to be getting excitement from would-be competitors and people interested in the sport everywhere in this region. So I really look forward to promoting it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. And then next we have Erin Long, who is our Wards Committee Chair.
Hey there, my name's Erin Long. Like Leslie said, I am located in a suburb of Charlotte, North Carolina. I've been doing working equitation for about a year and a half now with my old horse Sid. I really love it. I come from a wide background of disciplines, so I think it has a good balance of excitement and for the horse positivity. So I am excited to be here.
Thanks, Erin. Tricia, do you want to put on your Coaches Network hat and just say another couple words?
Well, sure. Hello again. I love it. I'm like, who is it? Is it the same person? We're not sure. Yes, it's the same person. I'm very, very honored to be able to chair a fabulous committee to promote a brand new program, what has been known as, or what is being known now as Coaches Network. And the best way to find out more detail, because I've got to keep it real brief, obviously we have a lot of ground to cover together today, but on our website, USAWE.org, there's so much information, but there's a nice place that we have highlighted the specifics about this Coaches Network. Everything is on there. All the questions you might have, if I can't answer them for you today, that's where you could find more information. The nutshell is it's a recognition program for us to basically and literally have a network for professionals to connect not only to each other, but also to connect to the working equitation enthusiasts who would be looking for further instruction and training. So we're excited to get that going. It will officially launch, i.e. being able to accept applications pretty soon, March 1st.
Thanks, Tricia. Next up is Jean Bond. Jean wears multiple hats. You'll see her on the list a couple of times. Jean has been chair of the Rules Committee for quite some time. She's coming on right now as the Competitions Committee chair, and I will let Jean introduce herself.
Hi, good morning, everyone. This is really cool to have us all together. I just want to say to start real quick that I've been in working equitation like Rebecca Algar since about the beginning through various organizations, but the merger between these two was just such a great exercise. It was a great opportunity to make a whole lot of new friends. The real positive is that everybody is in it to win it. Everybody's in the game because they care about this sport. And the merger, the whole merger process was really positive and just a really healthy experience for everybody, I think. So enough said of that. Competitions, what's neat is that we already have a lot of competitions already on the books. We have 62 of them on the books already. And hopefully more. This is going to be a great year for us, COVID notwithstanding. I think we're going to do well. Thank you.
Thanks, Jane. Next up, we have Lisa Nero, who is chair of our Ethics Committee and has a couple of hats as well. She's co-chair of our Financial Oversight Committee. Lisa, do you want to go ahead and say hi to everybody?
Hi, everyone from warm Odessa, Florida. Hope everyone's doing well today. Just want to say I've been involved with working equitation for just a couple of years now, so I'm excited about the combination of dressage and obstacles in a discipline like this, and have to give everybody kudos for merging the two organizations in such a swift, efficient manner. So that's it.
Thanks, Lisa. And then we have Claire Gosnell, who's working with Lisa on the Financial Oversight Committee. Claire, do you want to say hi?
Hi, I'm Claire Gosnell, and I'm a CPA and the co-chair of the Financial Oversight Committee. I live in the mountains west of Denver. I ride a Tennessee walking horse mare, and I've been involved in working equitation since 2015. In 2016, I started advocating for gaited horses being accepted into the sport, and I'm thrilled that that happened. Working equitation is my very favorite equine sport, and I'm just really happy to help out.
Thanks, Claire. Appreciate it. Christy Wright, you're up next. You're muted, Christy. If you're talking, we can't hear you. I know you were here earlier. I don't know if we lost Christy or not. We'll come back to her.
Sorry.
There you are. Good. Thanks, Christy.
Thank you so much. Let's see, hold on one second. Actually, can you go to the next, oh wait, I'm sorry, I'm organized now. So I want to just take a few minutes to explain about the Licensed Officials Committee and what we do. So I'll be representing the Licensed Officials Committee, where Doreen Atkinson and I serve as co-chairs. As Leslie said, Doreen wishes that she could have been here, but she's teaching a clinic this weekend. We're both honored to serve as co-chairs of the LOC with Jean Bond, who you guys met, Kelly Campbell, and Kat Waters. And they all bring an incredible depth of experience and background to our team. So a little bit about the Licensed Officials Committee. The Licensed Official Committee's job is to administer policies and protocols that the Licensed Officials Program created on behalf of working equitation, USAWE working equitation. So using that program as our guide, we license judges and technical delegates through recording the licensing documents and administering licensing exams. Our other and maybe most important responsibility is to create continuing education opportunities for our licensed officials. So continuing education can be accomplished by attending USAWE hosted seminars, scribing for judges with the same license or higher, shadow judging with a judge with the same license or higher, or attending clinics approved by the LOC, also calibration sessions, and also through competing. Now, obviously, we've had to rethink how this happens this year. So we are working on putting together webinars for the near future and optimistically planning on in-person opportunities at a few shows in the summer and the fall, conditions permitting. So since the establishment of USAWE this past fall, the LOC had to quickly ramp up to provide testing from January 1 to the 31st for all of the grandfathered licensed officials from the Confederation and from We United. We introduced an online testing software that worked really well for us and has provided us with data and statistics to help us create and fine-tune the licensed officials exams for the future. Now, if you're interested in becoming a licensed official, we're in the final stages of getting the licensed officials program approved by the board, and which should be available on the website in March for everybody to reference. It'll be a great resource and roadmap for anyone interested in becoming a judge or a technical delegate. We currently have 29 licensed officials who transferred over from the prior associations and who recently passed the licensed officials exam from last month. The website has a current list of the licensed officials if you're interested in putting on a show and you need to identify available judges and TDs. Ultimately, the LOC is here to support some of the most important direct representatives of working equitation, which are our licensed officials. Without them, there are no competitions. So we think it's important to appreciate how much time and money our licensed officials have dedicated to their licenses. Each competition we feel is an educational opportunity, and we hope to make each one valuable for competitors and licensed officials. So I know we're all excited about the new opportunities and this next year, and we are here to help however we can. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thanks, Christy. Mindy, were you able to join?
Yes, I am, dear. I'm here.
Good, you're up.
Okay, hi, I'm Mindy Finelli, and I'm not from the warm areas of Florida and Arizona and such. I'm in Flemington, New Jersey. Believe it or not, there are more horses per capita in the state of New Jersey than any other state in the nation. So just so you know that.
Really?
And we've had a heck of a lot of snow lately. I am the membership chair. Our committee consists of 4 people that we split up the responsibilities with, keeping everybody's horses recorded, memberships put in, affiliate organization memberships, greeting members, getting them their cards, and so on and so forth. I've been in working equitation since basically the same as Jean and Rebecca from the beginning. And it is without a doubt the best sport out there. I absolutely love when I get a die-hard dressage queen, which New Jersey is notorious for dressage queens and hunter jumper people, to actually convert over to working equitation because they finally find a reason for dressage. And I'm just happy to be able to serve. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mindy. I really, blah. Sorry, tongue-tied this morning. Thank you. Jean, I don't know that you need to come back on. You sort of covered everything where you were on. Jean is chair of our rules committee as well. Jean wears many, many hats in this organization and stays quietly behind the scenes. Do you want to add anything else, Jean? You're muted if you're saying anything.
No, I don't think they need to hear for any more from me.
Okay, that's fine. All right. And then Christine, it's your turn.
Yeah, back again. I handle a lot of the behind the scenes work with a team of people, keeping making edits to the website, helping get things underway, and just a lot of back scene stuff. And we hope to get a actual committee moving forward on doing some new things with the website in the next year. So look forward to that. That's it.
Thanks, Christine.
I'm going to take this, stop the screen sharing so that people can watch your face while you do this next part, okay?
That's okay. You really don't need to do that.
I think they'd like to see a real person, and then we'll go back to the slides for the questions.
That's great. Thank you, Christine. And Christine did a fantastic job of putting this slideshow together yesterday. She wears a lot of different hats and not just in this organization. I'm not sure how she accomplishes all that she does, but we're sure glad that she likes working equitation. So despite the tremendous effort that was put forth during the merger and that all that got accomplished during that time, we still have a lot to do. There are the mundane but essential tasks like submitting articles of incorporation, developing bylaws and other legal documents, setting up a bank account, which I have to tell you, with the pace of snail mail these days and all of the signatures that we needed, I think things might have gone a little faster if we'd used Pony Express, but we didn't have that option. We're applying for insurance and filing a 501c3 application. Once the 501c3 application has been submitted and approved, then money from the 2 organizations, from We United and the Confederation, can then be merged into our account. But their bylaws are both set up so that they can't put money into a new organization that's not a 501c3. So that is still underway. It's with the state of things as they are right now, it may take some time for that 501c3 application to be approved. but it's been filled out. We simply need to do things like a power of attorney and get that done. Most of our committees at this point have been filled. As Christine mentioned, we're still working on some of our really critical committees, such as marketing, communications, and publications, but we have had some really remarkable and very talented candidates that have expressed an interest in being on those committees. And so they will be up and running shortly. One of the things that was decided at the last board meeting is that due to the current workload and the need for timely decision-making, we decided recently that we needed to have twice monthly board meetings for at least the next 3 months until we are able to accomplish all of those tasks. At the end of 3 months, we'll evaluate, but hopefully at that point we can go back to once a month board meetings. Many of the committees, on the other hand, are meeting every week and for hours at a time. I've sat in on some of these meetings, and the discussions, the amount of work that gets accomplished is really, truly remarkable. And the thing that I would say is that just having the brain power and the different perspectives, I think, has done so much for strengthening this organization and really providing fantastic groundwork and support for our committees. I think that as good as both previous organizations were, we're really bringing together the very best of those organizations and truly uniting it into USAWE and what we have now. As always, our members are welcome to join our board meetings. I know that when we first started, we had people that sat in on the board meetings. That hasn't been the case so much recently. But I just want to remind the members that anybody is welcome to sit in on the board meetings. But we are keeping the minutes from the board meetings up on our homepage under corporate records. So if you're not able to attend and want to know what's going on, you're welcome to view the minutes there. Again, Julie does a fantastic job of encapsulating all of the things that are discussed during the board meetings. I don't know how she does it, but she does. And then before the meeting minutes are posted, they are reviewed by the board members to check for anything that was omitted or needs to be tweaked a little bit. But please make sure that you check out our meeting minutes. And if you have questions, feel free to send them to, I think it's info, is that correct, Christine, Julie? info@usawe.org?
That one works, yes.
Okay, good. Any rate, I think that's all I have right now. The dates for the board meetings, including the new ones, the mid-month meetings, are also posted on our website, on the website calendar. So feel free to check that out and keep those dates in mind, and feel free to join us. So one of the things that happened when all of you registered is that we let people put questions. We asked people to put questions that they had about the organization, post those when they registered. And thanks to all of you who did that, we went through and compiled the questions, and those questions were kind of sorted through and given to the appropriate people to respond to, and we'll be doing that in just a minute. But I'm going to go ahead and respond to one of the questions that was asked quite frequently during the registration process, and that was whether or not we were going to have a national show this year. And the short answer to that is no. Unfortunately, due to the merger, the timing of the merger, the timing of the election process, and the length of time and the organization it requires to put on a national show, the decision was made that we simply didn't have the bandwidth to do that this year. Partly because of COVID, trying to secure a site that would be accessible and amenable to as many of our riders and competitors as possible was very challenging. There were many, many people that were not able to attend shows. A lot of shows were canceled as a result of COVID. It takes at least a year to really organize, get sponsorships, awards, do all of the things behind the scenes that are necessary to have a successful national show. And so the decision was made not to hold one this year. That said, our organization is really coming together very nicely. Our committees are doing an unbelievable job working with really a relatively short timeline. I don't think any of us quite realized how challenging this merger process was going to be, nor did I think we realize how much there was still left to do after the merger became official. There were all kinds of legal documents that had to be filed, reviewed, those kinds of things. So there will be, with any luck and with lots of hard work, the hope is that next year in 2022, we will have a national show. With all of the shows that we have scheduled this year, I don't think we're going to have trouble for competitors to find shows to compete in. But that's where we stand with that question. At this point, Christine, I think we can start turning it over and answering our members' questions. So if you want to bring up your PowerPoint again, that would be great.
That works. I will do that. And I'm the first one up on it as well, but let's get it loaded back up.
And while you're doing that, Julie, was Cindy ever able to join? Do you know?
I don't know. You have to just ask her. So Cindy Branham, if you are here, unmute and let us know if you were able to join.
Oh, before we get into those reports also, the membership, I've got the member numbers here. We want to have
Mindy already
did she get those numbers for us? Okay.
Yep. She
All
did.
right.
Okay. Well, at the present time, I mean, that says 647 members, but while we're talking here, I think 3 more members just signed up. And the horse recordings, as of this morning, might be, I think, 2,553. I think there were 3 more that came on. So every day we're getting more members and more horse recordings. So people are very excited about this.
Thanks, Mindy.
All right. So we're going to be starting out with the questions submitted in advance, and then we'll move to the questions from chat. And when Leslie assigned these questions, Leslie, did you assign them based on not only who might be able to answer them, but if they came from this region? Because yes. I noticed that the questions that I got really would apply to everybody.
That is absolutely true, but they came from your region. So, and honestly, when I first sorted through this, I hadn't really thought about having a sort of a broader discussion about it. But yes, the reason that we've posted these questions and we're addressing them here is that many of these questions, while they might be region specific, can pertain to all of the different regions or a lot of the different members. So we wanted to make sure that everybody heard the answers to these.
Yeah, fantastic. So I had on my questions, Jennifer wrote in and asked how to get started. And I just came up with a few ideas related to that, because it could be, how do you get started in working equitation, or how do you get started, you know, there could be any number of things. But my answer to that question, Jennifer, is first join USAWE by going to the website and clicking on the membership tab drop down on the website and joining the club. Another way to get started with working equitation is take it upon yourself to organize a clinic in your area and invite your friends. Another way to get started is attend a clinic. Another way you could get started is build some obstacles and practice. I don't want to oversimplify it, but sometimes that's really where that, I know that's where I was. I just needed to start building and accumulating things to practice with. And another way to get started is enter a show. Sometimes that's a really big obstacle for people that have never shown before, and you just got to do it. Give it a shot. My next question I had was from Brenda. Brenda was interested in clinic updates, and I think everybody is interested in finding out more about clinics. So first of all, check the USAWE website. Go to the website, then to the event info tab, and click on there, and then they'll get you to our calendar. And just check there often. And there's a lot of different ways that you can filter that calendar to find just what you're looking for. So explore that a bit. That's a great way to find out about the latest clinics that are being posted. Also, check your regional Facebook pages for postings, because sometimes there'll be something posted there that hasn't made it onto the calendar. And then another way is take it upon yourself to organize a clinic in your area. Same as my last answer. It's a fantastic way to get working equitation going close to you. Is just take the initiative and put it together. Jillian, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, asked, what is the best way to access information about clinics and shows scheduled in your area? Well, again, my answer is first go to the website calendar. That is going to be the place to get the most up-to-date information on shows and clinics that have been posted. And then your regional Facebook pages, again, also might contain some things that haven't made it onto the calendar. And then also, I'd suggest you would go to the list.
Christine, I'm gonna, all right, sorry, I needed to mute somebody. Can I ask everybody to please mute your microphone so that you're not interrupting the speaker? Thank you. Sorry, Christine, go ahead.
No worries. The last suggestion I had on that was look at the listing of the people that are listed in either the coaches network or the judges and technical delegates sheets that we have, and see who's near you. See who you know or you might have heard of, and just give them a call. Get in touch with them. Ask them if they would come to your area and be the clinician for the clinic that you're going to organize in your local area. And just take that, reach out to them. A whole lot of our professionals were hit very hard with the COVID stuff and lost a lot of income that they depend on. And so you could really actually help them. You might find people very interested to come to your area and teach a clinic and make it work for you. And then my last question here, Robin asked, she had a great idea. She said it would be amazing if each region had some sort of approved facility with training props that members could practice on during approved times or have monthly clinics with, and have consistent access to a course for exposure has been really hard for her. And I very much understand that. It's that way for a lot of us. Unfortunately, all of the regions cover multiple states. And so it would just work out that somebody would have it in their backyard and nobody else would. And so it isn't really feasible for our national organization to do something like that. However, it's easy to improvise with some very inexpensive things, some 50-gallon drums, tops cut out, and you can use those for your multiple, you can use them for at least 3 of the different obstacles. You can use poles on the ground without even having them on stands and do multiple of the obstacles using that. You don't have to have a bell to ring. You could just practice going through the the poles and halt and pretend to ring the bell. I mean, so there's lots of things you can do inexpensively and that don't require 4 people to lift. A rope gate is a great one to build because it doesn't take much. What else? Go to the hardware store and buy a hickory closet rod and make your own garrocha pole. And then you use that with your barrels. You can use a single vertical post and just stick something on top of it to knock off. You don't actually have to have a ring to practice. One last cheap thing, just go get some cones from Walmart for $3. You can get 10 cones and place those out in place of some of the more hard to build or expensive obstacles. And you can get a lot of practice very inexpensively and many times right in your own home corral. My last suggestion would be getting together with a group of friends and see if you can find a facility that would house equipment for you. Perhaps one of the friends own it and you all pitch in and build these obstacles together, and you just get together weekly and practice and pool your resources and your time like that. Finally, although exposure to obstacles is good, remember the foundation is in the dressage movements. So don't neglect to practice those same halts, ringbacks, transitions, gates, circles, lines, and angles whenever you ride. That is all I have to say.
Thanks, Christine. That's great. I saw one comment that came up in the chat window that I'm just going to respond to quickly. There's some discussion going back and forth about bamboo. The only comment I would make about that is that during a competition, many of the garrocha poles are made out of hickory or closet poles, and bamboo is considerably lighter weight. So make sure you're comfortable handling the heavier weight that you would get with one of the closet poles than you will with bamboo. At any rate, Christine, let's move on. Kim Hillier, you are Region 6 and you're up next.
Hello. My question came from Sharon Briggs, and she was hoping to hear more about clinics in the Region 6 area. I think Christine covered a lot of what I would have said. You know, first, go to the USAWE website, find an affiliate organization that might be in your area and see what they have going on. Also check your events calendar on the USAWE website. We've been posting all kinds of things that are going on the Region 6 Facebook page. If you have something going on, a clinic that you'd like to put on the page, just let me know and I'll make sure it gets there. Right now, it seems like there's a lot going on in the south part of our region and in the northern part of our region, and there's sort of a big hole in the middle. I know last year I put on a lot of play days, basically where people could come and either just practice on the obstacles or get an introduction to the obstacles, where I was available to help with the rules and how to navigate those obstacles. So hopefully we can get some other people offering those kinds of things. Christine said, you know, build the obstacles and practice. That's another really good way to get started. If you have a group of people in your area that are looking to do something with working equitation and need a clinician and you haven't found somebody close to you on either the website or the Facebook page, I'm trying to compile a spreadsheet of people that are offering some help with working equitation, some instruction, and I can forward that to people and they can maybe find somebody that's close to them or suits their needs. But the best way to get clinics in the area is offer to put one on and see if you could get somebody to come help you with that. There's a lot of instructors that are really wanting to see the sport grow and would be willing to help out. And if there's anything else I can do to help, just let me know and I'll be there to help you.
Kim, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Next up, we have Rebecca Algar. Rebecca is wearing two hats today. She's our Region 7 director, and she will respond as a Region 7 director. She's also an S judge, and so she has a question or two that was directed that I thought was most appropriate for one of our S judges or a judge to respond to. So Rebecca will be responding to that a little bit later on. But Rebecca, go ahead and you can respond to your question, your Region 7 questions right now. You may be muted, Rebecca, if you're talking.
Yes, I was.
That's okay, thanks.
I have one Region 7 question from Cynthia Kosinch. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, from Georgia. And the question was there a way for her to get certified to make sure that she was teaching the correct things with regards to what is required with working equitation? And I think that question was answered earlier with the start of a coaches network, which is currently in the process of being put together. And again, this sort of relates to her second question, which was how to ensure continuity of training. And would there be regional trainings for prospective judges and or clinicians? So the continuity, if you hire a judge to teach your clinic, they are going to definitely be pretty much on the same page. But also for the regional trainings, I'm not sure what they have in line for possible judges yet, but we are actually looking in Region 7 of putting on a train the trainers clinic, hopefully in 2 or 3 different parts of our area, which is pretty large. And this, again, the idea is to get all the trainers on the same page so they understand what the judge is looking for, and possibly the best, or not the best, but a method of teaching that. Because some of these movements are stuff that people may not have already done in their regular horsemanship, whatever that might be. And so it can be confusing. How do I teach a side pass? There are certain things you need to know about position over the pole and this kind of thing. So here in Region 7, we thought a train the trainers clinic in 2 or 3 areas, kind of spreading it around so that everybody in that area is feasibly able to get there, might be the best answer. Leslie, did you want me to answer the judges' questions or do those later?
There's a slide later.
We'll do those later. Thank you.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
appreciate it. Aaron Long is up next. Aaron is chair of our awards committee.
Yep, so I got 2 questions. The first was whether amateur and open will be split in the national standings, and the short answer is yes, they will be split. So our system will handle that automatically. Whether or not the show splits them, they will definitely be split in the national standings. The second question I got was how points work between a 3-phase show and a 4-phase show. So a show that includes cattle. 3-phase shows, for L1, it is just up to 7 points average of your dressage needs of handling. For L2 through L7, you're still up to 7 points from your average between those 2 phases, as well as up to 1.5 points based on your placing in the speed trial. And you can see that chart on your screens now that allows you to get a maximum of 8.5 national standing points in a 3-phase show. In a 4-phase show, you essentially have what I'm going to call bonus points up for grabs as a part of your cattle phase. So you can get an additional 1.5 national points for up to an additional 1.5 national points for competing in cattle phase and successfully completing. DQing in your cattle phase will not eliminate your points from all the other phases. So if you crushed it and got your max 8.5 points and then DQ'd in cattle, it doesn't impact all of your other points that you earned. So you can have a maximum of 10 national points in a 4-phase show. So hopefully that answers that question.
Great, thank you, Erin. Next up, we have Coaches Network, Tricia Kiefer-Reed.
Well, hi there, guys. Sorry, I don't have any video available from my house. You could either hear me or see me. So I figured it was more important to be able to hear me. So we'll just go off of the slide that we see. One of our members, Jordan, had written in and was basically asking, just generally about the program, which then springboarded me to be able to, I'm going to really hit the high points here. I'm aware of that. There's a lot of detail. There's probably going to be a lot of questions, and I know I can't do justice to all of that here just in a couple of minutes. So let me circle us all back to remembering that on our website, USAWE.org, really, really simple, we have highlighted several different of our programs that we have out there available. Coaches is spelled out in all its detail. Everything you would ever need to know about the criteria to become a recognized coach will be there for you. I'm also going to give you my email for coaches, and I'll repeat this again at the end. Simply the word coaches at USAWE.org. So if you don't hear something today, you want to explore that a little bit more, go to the website first. If you still have questions, please feel free to contact me and then also our committee. Okay, so what we're thinking about here was inspiration that came through the merger process. So many people, including myself, had some inconsistency in experience. Maybe they went over here and they learned things only to find out that it was completely different than how they were going to be judged in competition. People are getting confused, maybe a little bit frustrated. We just noticed a huge lack of consistency across the country. And so we thought, how could we create a network? And again, this is not a license, what am I trying to say? Opportunity. This isn't a certification opportunity. This is clearly a recognition, okay? Let me side note that there's going to be a lot of trainers and instructors, and we kind of looped that into the word coaches, okay? So when you hear coaches, it could be your trainer, it could be your instructor, it could be your coach. We just needed one word to wrap us all together. There could be a lot of coaches out there that are fabulous. They're going to get you going. You're going to get the right information. Whether you compete or not, you're going to know the rules. You're going to understand the training continuum that goes along with the horsemanship. They may never choose to be part of the network. So that's fine. This is not an elite program. This is not an exclusive program. Matter of fact, we're coming at it exactly the opposite. We're trying to make this be an inclusive network for everybody. So the network is to help support the development of the sport in the US. And how we see that happening is by encouraging individuals to become educated, and kind of want to highlight this part, to stay current. We're hoping to not only raise the bar of coaching, but to help create consistency across the country. The next thing that really showed up for me just from our process as a committee and as we formed this program, we really want people to understand that this is an avenue for expanding your professional community. What happened was, as I started off with, we recognized a need to connect trainers and instructors with people that are seeking guidance. I see this network serving both our professionals and our enthusiasts. And I use the term a lot. Our enthusiasts are our end users. Let's say you're in the middle of Nevada and you're bitten by the wee bug and you don't know what to do. Oh gosh, who would be someone who could mentor me and educate me through this process so I can kind of get going? Well, we would love to be able to have this network available of coaches that person might be able to go on our website. Oh yeah, here's this person over here. I didn't even know they were down the road. And you could see how this can just keep rippling out. And the whole spirit of it is to be able to have an infrastructure of connectivity for us to share knowledge. Lastly, we very specifically are utilizing an objective, really highlight that in your mind, an objective application process. And how we came about that was painful because we really needed to look at how can we make this fair and equitable to our future applicants? And what we basically did is we borrowed from other successful national organizations, and we basically stood on those templates, but we specifically customized it to focus solely on working equitation. Taking the subjectivity out of the process, we've clearly outlined the requirements. Let me bring you back to our website. All of those requirements are very clearly laid out for you. Our goal is to offer professionals from a diverse background avenues to apply. And the whole aim is to keep that level of excellence up there. So for a person down the road who has spent a career in the horse world, that wouldn't be uncommon, probably even in the group of people listening right now. You know, they've done dressage, they've done reiners, they've whatever it is. They've been out there in the horse world and they have become addicted to working equitation, like most of us have been. And they are really out there, boots in the sand, getting it done. And we want to be able to say, hey, we'd like to make sure your efforts specifically for working equitation can be honed into this network, and we'll be able to showcase that for other people. So again, there's a whole lot more to this. You've got our email, coaches@usawe.org. That's the or excuse me, not .org. Yeah, .org. That's our email, and then the website. So I'll quit jabbering away here, but we're really excited about this. And again, we will be accepting applications starting March 1st. Thank you.
Thanks, Tricia. Really appreciate it. That's great. We have next up a rules question that Jean Bond will be addressing. Jean, I think you're muted.
Yes, I just unmuted.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, good. Sorry. Okay. The one question came up, can other members ride our recorded horses? The quick answer is yes. That's just fine. You can do that. Of course, there are restrictions about how many times a horse can be ridden in one competition. That's in 1.7 of the rule book, but the easy answer is yes, you can ride the recorded horses. How to qualify for the regional championship shows, that's in the rule book as well, but basically the answer is it you have to have a qualifying score of 58% in dressage and easy handling and at least one B-rated show in that region. And you have to compete at the level for which you are qualifying at the regional show. Other than that, there's no restrictions. And let me see, how and when to submit rules change suggestions, geez Louise, suggestions. It's on the website, it's under rules, under competitions and then rules, and there's a place for rule change proposals. We are only taking rule change proposals online now. And there's a real quick, easy button to click and ask for a couple of few questions. And the only other requirement is that everything has to be in by August 1st in order for us to be able to get that into the next revision. There's quite a lot of work to do revising the rule book, as you might imagine. So we need that time. So that's basically the rules questions that we got. Oh, and competition.
Now your next hat, Jean. Competition.
Okay. So here's my competition speech. We have 62, as I think I mentioned earlier, 62 shows applied for license to date. 61 of them are B-rated. We do have one regional championship show, Region 6. 2 shows we got canceled due to COVID. The shows by region, I won't read these to you. You can read it for yourselves. You can see some regions are jumped in real fast, real early. and have a lot of shows, but others are catching up. And the busiest show months, the shows are scheduled throughout the year. We have a couple of shows this month, but their big months are going to be June and September for a whole lot of shows thus far. 62 shows already this year, I think is great for us this early in the year. I'm hoping to see a whole lot more. So that's basically the competitions update. If I can go back quickly to just to say about the questions, Leslie, I think mentioned earlier that some questions we would be able to answer today and some we're going to take a little bit more time. I do have a couple of questions that I'm getting back to the questioner with, so I can better understand the scope of the question, and then we will circle back and answer those questions in time. But I just wanted to know I wasn't ignoring a couple of competitions questions. I'll be back in touch with the questioner. So that's all I've got.
Thanks, Jean. And last up.
Oh,
well, there's another one, Jean. There you go.
Scheduling circuit competitions. Yes, we do have that. As a matter of fact, some of our show organizers, actually the show organizers have to establish this option. It's not up to the show committee to do that. And currently we do have a number of shows that are organized in a series, if you will, that provide additional awards for riders who garner the most points in that series. So that's up to the show organizers to complete. Sorry for the noise. And anyway, we do have some of those, and you can check on the website which shows have that. Like Region 5 has a buckle series that they've got going. So those options are possible. So that's all I got.
Sorry, I'm muted. Thank you, Jean. I really appreciate it. Finally, we have a couple of questions appropriate for the judges, and I asked Rebecca if she would respond to those. Rebecca, do you want to come back on again?
Yep, I'm here. So the first question was with regards to emphasis in judging, and it says, is working equitation emphasis on stock handling or on dressage? So this is my answer to that. I hope it clarifies that. The dressage section is designed to prove the functionality of horse and rider in a working environment, rather than rewarding spectacular movement at the expense of lightness and balance. In other words, we expect a horse to be collected, obedient, alert, and attentive, but he has to be functional. So it is no good having a horse with spectacular movement that you need to ride with both hands and a death grip to keep him in the arena. In other words, the emphasis is on the functionality of the dressage. And the cattle trial is, of course, a timed event. And again, because it's a timed event, the better trained horse will be the most successful. So if your horse is correctly trained for the working equitation dressage, he's light, he's balanced, he's obedient, he's quick, he will be successful in the cattle trial. The whole point of this dressage or functionality phase is to prepare the horse for all the other sections of the sport. So I hope that clarifies the first question. And the second question was a clarification for the judging standards for ease of handling. The specific way to perform each obstacle is in the obstacle section in the rule book, which explains very simply the correct way to actually do that particular obstacle. And if your horse is not doing his dressage correctly, he won't be doing the obstacles correctly. Again, the dressage and the dressage tests are designed to prepare your horse to use those movements in the ease of handling. So again, the better trained horse And that means usually practice, practice, practice. But the better trained horse is the one that will be more successful in the ease of handling. Hope that clarifies that for anybody.
Rebecca, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. That was excellent. And thank you to everyone that answered questions. Hopefully, we provided some answers that were helpful to everybody. The next thing on the agenda is an opportunity to ask some general questions. I know a lot of things have been going on the chat. Christine, again, thank you so much for your presentation. I really appreciate it. I don't know how you got it pulled together that quickly, but it was wonderful and a great visual for everyone. At any rate, we do want to give people the opportunity to ask some questions. I want to make people very aware that we will be answering questions that are fairly broad that we think will have interest to most of our members. Some of the questions that came in when people registered and some of the questions that come in this morning may be questions that are too detailed to answer in this format, may be too specific to present to this particular group, or we simply may not have answers for them yet. They may be things that we're working on, that our committees are hard at work on. And we don't want to jump the gun and give you answers that are going to either be incomplete or inaccurate based on where we are at this point. Cindy Branham has been wonderful in offering her time to take a look at the questions, and she will read them as they come in. So I'm going to ask people, because it's very hard to go back up through the chat window. Cindy may not catch all of the questions. So if you have something that you feel is fairly broad that would be of interest to the people on the meeting, please go ahead and type it in the chat window. We will try to get to as many of them as we can. We are copying the chat window, so if there are questions that come up today that we aren't able to answer for whatever reason, we will certainly respond to you. If it's appropriate for all the members, we'll make sure that it's something that's covered, that we can provide an answer to all the members. If it's more specific, we will do everything that we can to get back to you and answer your question. But again, please know that everything is not complete at this point. There are still things that are a work in progress, and we simply may not have an answer for you at this point, but we'll do the best we can to answer any of the questions that we're able to this morning. Cindy, do you have a couple of questions that might be good to present at this point?
Well, some of them, there's one that's kind of people are going over in the chat window, but I think it's a good question. It says, is there a guide to how to build or create each obstacle? I think that's a really good question. And I know that a lot of those are in the rule book. Do you have any other answer to that, Leslie?
The only other answer that I would have in terms of an actual how to build them, I know there's a lot of information out there. People have posted things on their various regional pages. There are things on Facebook. There is a working equitation handbook written by Taryn Warren and Kelly Christ. I don't think they're really so much of a how to build an obstacle as they are kind of a description of how the obstacle should be ridden. Is there anybody else that has some thoughts on that would like to speak up? I know that was addressed a little earlier in the meeting. Christine talked a bit about various substitutions for obstacles, ways to practice on obstacles, even if you didn't have a place to build them or store some of the larger ones. There are things that can be used as substitutions, but other than that, I don't know that there is anything really specific for how to build obstacles. Anybody else have anything they want to add to that?
This is Julie. I'd like to just add a little bit there.
Please do, yeah.
On the website, there are plans, detailed architecturally drawn, well, not quite architecturally drawn, but almost drawn plans for the bridge, and a step-by-step guide in how to build the bridge, which comes apart into 4 pieces for transport, and it's strong enough to withhold a charging Frisian at full speed. So that particular obstacle is one that's the most challenging probably of all of them to build, and that one is on the website. Howard Pete provided that for us and has made it possible for us to share it, so that's there, and it's a pretty good description. Many people have used that to build their own bridges. A lot of the other obstacles, there aren't regulations so much as just be creative, and part of the fun in the sport, I think, is the creativity that different people show in coming up with different obstacles. It keeps it fresh. So rather than the same thing each time, you might see a bison in Montana and a bull that's very friendly looking in a state with lots of dairy cows, and a bull that's very rugged in other places. You might see a moose in Alaska for the skewer the ring obstacle. So I encourage people to be creative, to come up with regional variations that make sense and yet still fit within the requirements of the rules. There's lots of fun that you can have with being flexible and original.
Thanks, Julie. And actually something that just popped into my head as we were having this discussion, we put out a newsletter, and it occurs to me, and this may or may not happen going forward, but it occurs to me that something that could be included either on the website at some point or in the newsletter are some articles and some photos of some really creative designs and things that people have done. Some of the obstacles are challenging to do and do well, and I think it would be a great sharing thing for our members, especially for those new coming in, to be able to do that. So anyway, Cindy, do you have another question for us?
Yes. Logo merchandise, are there regulations about the use or sale, etc.?
The short answer to that is yes. We're working on it. There will be, there are not, we haven't developed that yet. The marketing website, communications, newsletter, publications, that committee right now is in the process of being formed. We had a fairly long meeting yesterday afternoon discussing that. We have a lot of people that have expressed an interest in being involved. So yes, that will be coming. We're aware that that needs to happen fairly soon, but it's in the works as we speak. So thank you for the question, and yes, there will be some recommendations around that. Thanks, Cindy. What's up next?
Do we have in the works an LO seminar?
Christy, I'm going to let you respond to that.
Yeah, so all of the licensed officials should have received an email from the LOC that we will be holding a webinar on March 7th. So kind of keep your eyes open for more emails and more information about that. We have stuff in the works for the future. We kind of have a plan A, in-person, plan B, virtual, just depending upon how this year plays out. But now that we have testing behind us, that is our pretty much our full focus of what the LOC has been working on.
Thanks, Christy. Cindy, what's up next?
This is a question, I'm guessing for Biddy, but can USAWE build in accommodation for riders with physical challenges, e.g. sitting trot requirement for older riders with back issues, anything like that? There's been some answers in the chat room, but I'd like it to be clarified for everyone if we have that answer.
Okay. Jean, I'm gonna punt that question to you, please.
Yeah, I'm happy to take that. We do have a rider dispensation. It's not a program, it's something. If a rider has needs, special needs, all they need to do is get in touch with me. The dispensation certificate application is on the web, and as is everything else under competitions. And we will adjust, and we will give them a certificate that describes what their specific needs are, and make sure that the judges and the show officials all have that as well, but the rider, the competitor, him or herself will also have that available when entering shows so that things can be set up in advance. So we do have that provision.
Thanks, Jean. I appreciate it. Cindy?
Are we having a national show in 2021? And do we look at having one the next year?
I'll respond to that very briefly. We talked about it earlier in the meeting. So for those who weren't on, the answer is no. The details about that will be in the meeting minutes. We've recorded the meeting and that will also be in the meeting minutes. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it right now. The hope is yes in 2022, but no, not in 2021. Cindy?
Looks like there's questions for Christy. Will the 2 CE credits for the LO webinar be applied to judge licensure? And this might be something that she can either talk about here or later.
That we'll talk about later. We still have to get the LO program approved by the board. So as soon as that's locked in, then we will share all that information with our licensed officials.
Great. Thanks, Christy. Cindy?
There's been a couple questions about the USEF differences in judging and things like that. I think that might be something to address when we have more time.
Agreed.
That's a pretty deep questions there. So
Pretty deep, pretty detailed, and I don't think really pertains to the membership at large, but we will respond to that. We can get our judges together and answer that more appropriately at another time. Thanks, Cindy.
Yes. Unless somebody else has another question, those are the ones that I have written down. Did I miss anybody?
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for being here, for taking the time, for supporting this organization. Thank you so much for the kind words that you expressed when you registered for this meeting. It's wonderful to see this many faces. It's, you know, there are people on our board that I've only met through Zoom. I'm hoping that with time and as COVID gets a little bit under control, that we'll all get to meet in person. I'm hoping we have a wonderful big party at some point. But at any rate, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy days. Thank you for loving your horses and their sport and for supporting this board and this organization. It is very, very much appreciated. Just one more thing, if you didn't get your name in the chat window before you leave, go ahead and please put that in so that Julie can record who was here today. If there are any more questions, get them in the chat window quickly. Otherwise, I think we can adjourn this meeting, and we're actually a few minutes early. So it's 11:20. And I think we will adjourn the meeting at 11:20 Mountain Standard Time. And again, for those whose questions we didn't get to for whatever reason, we've kept track of the questions and we will respond at some point. Again, thank you very much. If the board wants to stay on for just a couple of minutes, if you have things to do, there's no requirement to stay on, but if everybody wants to stay on for a minute or two, and we can just do a brief debriefing, that would be great.
Nice job, Leslie. Good job.
A great job, everybody. I mean, this really, truly, this is an amazing team, and it is the best of the best. And everybody works together. Everybody has amazing skills, and I'm just so proud to be part of this.
Can members stay on to listen?
Sure. We're not saying anything that's top secret, Sue, so of course.
Just chit chat.
Yep. Yeah, we're just kind of doing a debriefing, make sure there wasn't anything that we could have done better, different. I'm sure there was, but you know, I think for the most part it went well. So
I feel like I just lost 100 pounds.
well, I'm not shaking anymore. Let's put it that way.
I can finally sleep again.
I might be able to sleep. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for putting together the PowerPoint, Christy. That really was nice.
She did a great job.
Super great that everybody got me their stuff like right away, because we only had like 24 hours notice.
I know. It was, yeah. And you know, part of that is me not getting stuff out. You know, I had different people say, well, how about doing this and how about doing this? And I'm thinking, I don't know how we're going to pull this all together, but you know,
it worked good.
It did.
It was very efficient.
So it was great. The visuals really helped a lot. And so any rate, Cindy, thank you. I know that was a lot. That was like a moving target, and you did a great job with that. Thank you so much.
You actually, I should be apologizing. I literally didn't come on until halfway through, and I've been like, I put my whole morning aside. I had my computer ready because I read the stupid agenda I read Central Time noon instead of Eastern or something. So I thought it started at noon. So I really feel bad. I apologize 100%. I logged on and you guys were already talking and my stomach went, oh no. I was like, so I'm sorry if I made you double task, Leslie, or something. I apologize.
It's not a problem at all. I think it went fine.
Okay. Looks like you guys did great and I'm so sorry.
You came in right when you were needed, Cindy, so it was perfect.
Oh my gosh. I was like, oh my gosh. Oh,
Cindy, I've had that happen too, just the way that our time zones are written out. For
Right.
some reason, I read the time zone before me and I get this text, I think from Julie, like meeting question mark. I'm like, so at least that didn't happen today, but I feel you, sister. I feel you.
Okay. Well, I
So
apologize.
if
I
that's
almost
the
did
case,
exactly the same thing as Cindy, because I thought, oh yes, mountain time, that's 3 hours. So I need to get on at 1. And then this morning I woke up and said, wait a minute, that's not right. So I checked it on my world clock. So luckily I just made it in the nick of time.
So then I have a question for you guys. Is there a better format, a better way that we can write that out so that it isn't an issue? Because I know it
Yes, just put
definitely-
a space between each of them. It
Okay.
tends to, at least when it shows up on my phone, and maybe it's because it's on my phone,
gets
but
crowded.
it all comes in together. And so it's
okay.
real easy, even though it's highlighted and it's clear, it's easy to read the number before or after our time zone. So if we could just do them as a single line, or maybe, does that make sense?
Okay.
A space in between? I
Yep.
think that would be
Yep.
awesome.
Not a problem. We can do that.
Leslie,
Okay.
something that is often used otherwise. This is Barbara. I don't know why my video is not working. I thought maybe you excluded me from the video.
No, I would
based
never
on
do
my
that
hair
to you,
yesterday's
Barbara.
meeting. Anyway, that oftentimes when I do national releases and things, we either use Pacific time or Eastern time, and we stick with that, and everybody has to kind of figure it out from there, but it kind of sets a pattern. I think maybe when you list all the times, sometimes is when more confusion comes in, but I'm just throwing that out there, like maybe pick one coast or the other. That's fairly typical, and go with that, and then everyone's kind of has to figure it out on their own, but that's pretty easy once you know it's going to be this or that, but just throwing it out there.
Okay. Trisha and Cindy, would that make it easier for you?
No, I want it spelled out with a line in between. Sorry.
I'm with
Sorry,
Trisha
Barb.
on
Don't
that.
make me think any more than I have to.
Sorry, Trisha. I retract my statement. Sorry.
Please do retract that suggestion. I'm booing you. I'm thumbs downing you from afar. In a different time zone, by the way.
Okay. Good.
This is Christine. One thing I do put all all the time zones on, but I bold Pacific time so that they're all there for the people that want to see where theirs is, but then it gives that anchor point that Barbara was talking about just by bolding it.
Okay.
That's what I've done before.
Okay. Any rate.
Yeah.
That's all I have. Again, absolutely wonderful, everybody. I can't tell you how much I appreciate all of the time, the effort that went into this, that continues to go into our committees and making this, to my mind, just a fantastic organization. So I really don't have anything else to add. If anybody does, let me know. But I just, go ahead.
I think that like next time, if we were going to do a slideshow, now that I know how it works in reality, I would make 2 separate slideshows, because then I don't have to reload and scroll through to get to where I left off, because it doesn't bookmark it the way that this is run. And then, do you guys think that if I would have added, say, a small portrait of the person's who's talking on their slide when we got to the question part and there was just text, do you think having a small picture so that it also put a face to it would have been a better, a good way of doing it, to not be too cluttered still?
Yeah, I think that would be fine. And as far as doing 2 separate ones, you're on your own next year. I won't be on the board. So
I did see somebody gave the feedback. They liked it so much. They said, "Can we do this quarterly?"
Oh Lord.
Oh boy.
Although, okay, here's the thing. We have, per our bylaws, we have to do an annual member meeting.
Yeah.
But we have enough going on. There are enough new programs developing and those kinds of things. I don't know about quarterly, but if we did a couple of more during the year, just to give people who weren't able to be here today to kind of present new ideas, we have the format down. We kind of know how it goes. I love involving and including the members. Maybe.
What about an end of season? I'm sorry, I did. So this is kind of in my mind, it's a beginning season meeting just because of the timing of it. We're all getting ready to rock and roll into our new year for the most part. What if we did an end of season? And I don't know what that would be, October, November, something like that.
I think that's too late, Tricia, and here's the reason why I think that's too late. Two reasons. One, we'll be heavily involved in rules at that point. The other thing is, at that point, we're going to be having elections. So I think we probably need to do it sooner than, say November, December. But I think we could do it. The seasons for different regions are different. I mean, in California, I don't think their season ever ends. Whereas, up north, I think their seasons tend to end a bit earlier and start later. Their seasons are just short. So, we could do something in August, for example. It's something I think that we ought to discuss as a board and consider doing. Clearly, there's interest. It was wonderful to have the involvement of the members, and I think it's certainly something that we ought to discuss.
It was a really big turnout.
It was a great turnout. We got some great questions. It was wonderful. People, I thought, participated, did a great job. I'm thrilled. So
Leslie, could I add? I've got to run, but if I could add something quickly. I think that going forward in the future, the annual meeting ought to have some sort of a financial review. Very brief, but that's generally part of something of this nature. So I'll just throw that out there.
I don't disagree. There were 2 issues today. One was that Aaron couldn't be here, and 2, we're still sort of resolving some of those things. But I agree with you 100%. And honestly, yeah, I think maybe that's something that could be included in a lot more detail. It's not part of the annual meeting, but we could sort of touch base on that in more detail at our second meeting if we have another one later this year. But I don't disagree with you. Thank you for that input. All right, I think we're set here. Awesome, everybody. again, thank you very, very much. I really appreciate it. And for the members that stayed on, thank you. It was great to have you here. We're looking forward to hearing from everybody, and go ride your horses. Have fun.
Too cold
Bye,
in
everybody.
Kansas.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And Leslie, we set it to automatically save the chat, right? So that you don't have to do anything.
We did, but I went ahead and copied and pasted it anyway. Just
okay, perfect.
Just in case it didn't work.
Great.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job. We pulled it
you.
off. We pulled it off as a great team.
I think it went very, very well. I'm really pleased. So thank you for all you did. It was amazing.
Oh, you're welcome. Julie reminded me about the slideshow, and I'm like, oh yeah. So I totally, like I said, I was in last week, so this whole time. So that's why I thought we had a whole nother week.
I don't know how you pulled it together, but you did, and you did a fantastic job. It was really wonderful to have that, truly.
Good.
So
All
I think
right.
it just pulled things together. All right, take care.
Cool. We'll see you later.
All right, bye-bye.